Anyway.
Speaking of telling people to fuck off,
Yeah.
the Israelis, it seems like, are finally ready to tell Hamas to fuck off.
Oh, dude. Okay. Hot take, and this is gonna piss off a lot of people who are ragging on about Israel. We should stop supporting Israel and all this shit. You know what? In order to solve the Middle Eastern conflict, I think the best solution is to support Israel more, in the sense that we don't give them more money, right? We don't give them tax dollars and shit, but we just guarantee that the rest of the world, except for Muslim countries, because that's what they're gonna do, would keep trading with them. That's it.
I agree. And if they want to buy weapons from the United States, then yeah, we should sell
Yeah, they're
them
more
weapons.
than welcome to. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shouldn't give them the money to buy those weapons. No.
No, of course not.
Fuck
No,
no.
like that's the thing.
I'm completely against the idea of foreign aid as well.
Oh
like,
yeah, absolutely. Like especially with Israel. Like Israel, like it's a country owned and operated exclusively by Jews.
Yeah,
they know
like,
how to make money.
They know how to make money. Like, you've got to be kidding me, man. Like, are you fucking serious? That's the reason the memes exist, right?
Well, here's the thing. I'm also at a point. I don't blame them for taking the money, because like they're sitting over there in the desert, trying to get killed by everybody on both sides of their country, and they're just sitting there going, "Well, if the Goyim are gonna give us the money, we'll take it."
Well, yeah. Part of the value of money is that it's there for the taking.
Yep.
Right. And if you're being offered money for nothing, well, why not? It's the same reason why unemployment is so high in the U.S. right now, because they're being given more money than one of my honors thesis for university actually was that Palestine is not a real ethnicity. Palestinian is not a real ethnicity. Like, and I got into heaps of shit for it, but here I am thinking, like, okay, dude, okay. Palestinians are basically Arabs. That's the entire reason why the rest of the Arab countries in the region are interested in the whole conflict. There is no such thing as like a separate Palestinian identity. There is one being cultivated. There's one being cultivated, and the longer that this crisis lasts, the more solid identity becomes. And that identity is based on the hate of Israel. It's based on the hate of Israel's existence.
And the shitty thing is that it's got a really good head start, because this has been going on since the 50s or 60s, since right after Israel was established.
47?
And that's when suddenly all these people who had lived in the area whose families lived in the area for generations stopped being Jordanian and stopped being Syrian and suddenly and suddenly they were like, no, we're Palestinians and you're invading our country. What fucking country? This area of the Middle East has been conquered for hundreds of years before we got here. Like, the British had it, and then the British gave it up after World War II to establish Israel. Like, this was the Louisiana Purchase. We didn't steal this shit. We bought it.
Well, it wasn't just that. Like, the Jews literally bought the land before the Jews even got anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before World War I, the place was owned by the Turks.
Yeah. I couldn't remember how far back. I just remember it was the British gave it up. That's as far back as I can recall.
Yeah. But like the place was owned by the Turks before that, and like, okay, there were opportunistic like grabs by the Israeli army, or the Haganah as they called themselves at the time, right? But before World War I, the place was owned by the Turks, and the Jews actually bought the land from the Turks.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that.
The Arabs were just there as fucking tenants. They were basically serfs, dude.
Well,
they just didn't have an issue because, guess what? Their landlords were Muslimin. But the moment that they find out that the place isn't Muslim land anymore, because it's now owned by Al-Yahud, right? Then it's a problem. Islam is always going to be the problem. Fucking, you know what? Yeah, anyway, we're getting off track. But
but it is. I mean, like, if you want to get down to the brass tacks of the whole thing, this is a fundamental problem with Islam. Islam has got Jew hate codified into it. Like, I know that, like,
it's not just Jew hate, my brother. Look, so in Islamic teaching, there's two basic parts to the world. Sorry, yeah. There's Dar al-Islam and there's Dar al-Harb. And Dar al-Islam is the land of Islam, right? So the land under submission to Islam. and Dar al-Harb is the land in eternal war.
Huh.
So unless you're conquered by Islam, your ass should be warred on, pretty much.
Well, I mean, there's precedents in the past, like Jews were allowed to live as Jews were allowed to
Second-class
live.
citizens, yeah, dhimmis.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
with
that's
Christians.
yeah, they were allowed to live in Arab states, like famously under Salah ad-Din, he didn't try to wipe Jews out. Well,
Yeah,
that's
but that's also why Salah al-Din is a minor character in Islamic history, because he
yeah,
didn't conquer any
he
new lands. Salah al-Din is only a major figure in Western historical minds, because
yeah, because
he was seen as a rival to Richard the Lionhearted. But in
and
Islamic history, he's a fucking footnote.
yeah, and he's also been heavily romanticized in our history about how like he was a good man and he was honorable, and it's just like he let the prisoners go after. I'm like, no, he didn't. He ransomed them. He said that like if you can pay me, I will let you leave.
Yep. Yeah. But see, that's the other side of the So you know how I did 2 degrees, right?
Yeah.
My second degree was in international politics. Actually, yes.
God,
So
you
my
are
second
way
degree was
smarter than me.
no. I'm just overeducated retard. That's how I call myself.
Fair enough.
So for history and international politics, so what I did for international politics was the Palestine thing, right? And what I did for history is the so this is the thing that really got me into shit. So for my history thesis, I did the effectiveness and use of sexual violence as a weapon of conquest.
Ooh.
And yeah.
What period were you in college? Like what years? Like what years?
2009 to 2014.
Oh man, so
like
you were there right.
The very tail end of before shit went completely insane.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say you barely missed the shitstorm.
Yeah, but like so even those 2 things though, like I nearly got expelled because of them. Like after I did my honors, I was in danger of not getting my degree at all. Because those 2 theses put me so they put me in front of the ethics committee of the university, and then what they decided was I needed to present both of those theses in front of the ethics committee, the heads of both of those departments, and an entire lecture hall filled with fucking leftists, and I had to defend my points.
Struggle session.
Yeah, but in the end, you know what? I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck you. Come at me. Yeah. So they gave me like a. Yeah, exactly. I mean, what are they gonna do? Fucking tackle me with their little soy boy fucking limbs and shit? Fuck off.
Exactly.
Dude, I was still at this point. I was still technically active duty, but in reserve.
Yeah.
Like I was in furlough, so you know what? Fucking take on my fucking 200-pound brown ass. Let's go. Let's go. You can. Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, so the there's a myth surround like one of the examples I used in the sexual violence one is that there's a period of Islamic history called the Umayyad Caliphate, right? And the entire reason that the people even took issue with that, it wasn't the fact that I used rape as like the study. It was because of the fact that I used the caliphate that is seen as the most benevolent out of all the Islamic caliphates. They had like a sacred cow. It was fucked. Like because if you look up the Umayyad Caliphate, they're seen as like the most benevolent of the Islamic caliphates because they presided over Islam's quote unquote golden age, where they actually studied Greek philosophy and things were relatively tolerant.
Yeah,
but ultimately,
this is the point in history where people like to claim that they invented algebra or some shit.
Yeah. Or they invented the guitar, they invented cough syrup, and all this other shit. And it's like no, they just stole the people the inventions of the people they conquered. Yeah. It's like the only reason why we call it Indo-Arabic numerals is because the Arabs conquered part of India and then took it to Europe. They didn't change anything. Like no, just no. Anyway, yeah. So it's seen as like a more tolerant part of Islam, and it's like it was, but they still killed and raped dhimmis.
Yeah.
So what's the problem? But yeah, like the whole situation in the Middle East, like as we saw with the end of Trump's presidency, right? you see all these Arab countries basically signing peace treaties with Israel and ignoring the Palestinians. Because on some genetic level or whatever, they know that the Palestinians are Arabs too. There's no difference between, look, seriously, there's no difference between the Syrians, the Palestinians, the Egyptians, the Jordanians, the Saudis. Like, what's the, like, the only difference that they can point out is, like, cultural history.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But it's like, I mean, the whole point with the point that all these, like, I guess white racists or whatever would say is that, like, they make the point that Germans and French and British are like, oh, they're all white brothers and shit. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, the difference is that there's some level of cultural cohesion between those states, and that's why the EU is possible.
The enmity between the European states goes back, like, to this day.
Thousands of years. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's
like
deeply ingrained in there.
Yeah, it's like to this day, English, French, and German people still constantly take the piss out of each other.
Yep. Yeah, but at the very least, there is a sense of cultural cohesion.
Oh, yeah.
The problem with Arabs is that Arabic culture, it boils down to this, right? Arab culture boils down to this maxim. Me against my brother and I against our family, my family against the clan against the tribe against the nation, and the nation against the world.
And people wonder what would happen in the Middle East if the U.S. and its allies just stopped fucking around. Well, they'd unite and they'd come and kill us all. I'm like,
no, they won't unite.
They really won't, man.
They won't. They'll kill each other first.
Sunnis and Shiites have been trying to kill each other for 1,000 years. Like,
you know what the funniest thing about the divide between Shia and Sunni is, though?
No, I don't. Tell me.
Do you know why there's even a difference?
I did at one point. I watched a documentary about it, but I've long since forgotten it.
Oh, okay. So it's literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It basically boils down to who was the rightful successor to Muhammad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So the Shias believe that it's Muhammad's grandson, Ali, right? And the Sunnis believe that it was Muhammad's generals who deserve to be successors. That's it. Now there may be, religious differences that have popped up since then, but that's literally what it came down to. It is the single most retarded schism in history that I've ever heard of. And this is why I am never going to change my mind that Islam is a bad fan fiction of the Bible.
I mean, it really is. It really is.
It's literally the same characters all the way from the Old Testament. They just flip the roles. That's it.
Yeah, Jesus isn't the son of God. He's just a prophet.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, all of those people that, led the Hebrews out of Egypt, like Moses and, fucking Josiah and all them. Oh, actually, they were Muslim. I'm not going to change the story. I'm just going to call them Muslim.
So instead, like, I've never even heard this, by the way, so you're blowing my mind right now. So you're telling me that in Islam, Moses was a Muslim and he led the Muslims out of Egypt.
Yes.
I did not know this.
Abraham was also a Muslim. Okay? So, you know how Abraham had two sons, Ishmael and Isaac?
Yep.
Right? You know how the famous story is Isaac gets bound and, put on like an altar of wood to be sacrificed?
Yeah.
No,
God tells him not.
Yeah. Actually, no, that was Ishmael.
Huh.
That's literally the only difference between, in the Old Testament, between Islam and Judaism.
I had no idea.
It's so fucking retarded. Like, like Muslims counter with like, oh, how could an illiterate goat herder, an illiterate businessman, do find it with all that? And I'm like, pretty simple. He doesn't change anything. He just starts calling them Muslimin, changes the main character of one story from one guy to the next, and that's it.
And then he makes sure to add in some stuff about how it's okay to have sex with 8-year-olds and.
Oh, no. He doesn't say that. He just does it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that the great prophet Muhammad did it kind of implies that it's okay.
Oh, it's not. That doesn't just imply. There's a teaching in Islam, I can't remember the exact name now, where Muhammad is the perfect man and everything he did should be emulated.
Well, Obviously,
You ever-
who wouldn't want to go to heaven on a winged horse?
Yeah, well, I mean, does anyone ever wonder why, like, Muhammad is the most popular name in the world, pretty much now? I know a Lebanese family who have 5 sons.
Yeah, and they're
You
all
want to know what
Muhammad.
the sons' names are?
Muhammad, and Muhammad.
Muhammad, Mahmoud, Ahmed, Mehmet, and Ahmed, which is literally variants of Muhammad.
That is hilarious.
Like, God, guys, have some fucking creativity. Like, okay, don't go all the way to fucking, fucking Niggerland with Shaniqua and fucking, Jamalesa or something. Or fucking, I don't even know, right? Don't go all the way to
Tyrone. Fucking Tyrone.
Tyronisha. That's the worst one I've seen. It's like, it's a mixture
Yeah.
of Tyrone and Shaniqua. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
bruh. Anyway.
Just knock it off.
Yeah, just stop. Please stop. Don't go all that way to creativity. But come on, guys. Have some variation.
So I really love the Iron Dome. I'm pretty sure that's officially my favorite military ordnance in the entire world now.
Okay, there's a photo going around of like the Iron Dome versus the missiles launched from the Gaza Strip. And the missiles launched is like this straight arcing trajectory.
Yep.
Right? From the Palestinians. And the Iron Dome is literally like, a ton of missiles snaking around. And like, I don't think I love a picture more than that.
I saw some figures here a second ago. I'm trying to find them again in this.
Let me see if I can send you the image I'm talking about, because it is
that
man, that
sounds very cool. But like, so I can't find the exact figures. I found it a second ago, but it was like, oh, here it is. Yeah, I found it. Israel's army says 3,750 rockets have been fired from Gaza, killing 12 people, including 1 child, and injuring 333 people. 333. So, and the Iron Dome has managed to stop most of those.
I'm sending you the photo on DM, and you tell me how amazing this shit is. On the left is the Iron Dome, and on the right is the rockets from Palestine.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is very cool. I've not seen that image yet.
Dude. Like, look at how the best way I've heard the Iron Dome being put, right? Is
I'm gonna put this image into the video.
Oh, dude, it is amazing. Here's the thing.
Because this is amazing.
This is the best way that I've heard the Iron Dome described, right? Imagine if someone is trying to shoot you. Now, would it be easier if someone's trying to shoot you to just shoot the guy himself, right? Or to shoot the bullet that he just shot out of his gun down?
Obviously, the easier thing to do would be to shoot the guy.
Yeah, but the Iron Dome is literally shooting the bullets that the guy just shot out of his gun down.
Yeah,
so that you would not harm him.
Here's and like the Iron Dome kind of gives like kind of like makes a few people eat crow. So you know how everybody always, like, not everybody, but there's a lot of naysayers that say that like missile defense is bullshit, and that like if somebody launched a nuke at us, we would never be able to stop it. Like,
see, this is the reason why I love fucking, pissing off all the ethnonats who, like, ragging shit. And I'm like, okay, so they've got the wall and they've got the Iron Dome. That's 2 things that people want to advocate for the US, where you can see it literally being used in real time, working properly. How is this a problem? What?
I mean, this is I mean, this is quite simply a marvel of military technology. This is some Iron Man shit.
Dude, this is as futuristic as you can get right now.
Like, short of like, Reagan wasn't lying. He really built a laser cannon, and it's floating around in space. We just haven't had an excuse to fire it yet.
Yep.
This is pretty much the.
This is
this is it.
Real sci-fi fucking domain right here.
This is the pinnacle.
Holy shit! But that is beautiful.
So, honestly. And then this kind of brings me to like my whole next thing, and it goes back to something you mentioned earlier about like basically letting Israel off the leash and telling them, "Don't worry, do your thing. We'll play defense for you."
Yeah.
Because like, if Israel really wanted to, if they really wanted to, this shit would be over in a day.
In a day? 30 minutes? How long does it take?
Yeah.
How long does it take a nuke to reach fucking Gaza?
Well, okay, assuming that Israel... Okay, officially Israel doesn't have any nukes, Larisha. So, hey, I don't know what you're talking about here, but BB said that we don't have nukes. And I trust... I trust BB.
That is the biggest lie of the 20th and the 21st century.
BB Netanyahu is a trustworthy guy. You can believe everything that comes out of his mouth.
Look, I actually like Bibi Netanyahu, but when people say that Israel doesn't have...
Well, okay, so the reason why I say 24 hours is because I'm assuming they're not just going to nuke Gaza and the West Bank, but like seriously, 24 hours, 2 fronts, they could conquer the Gaza and the West Bank. They could do it in a day, and then this would be over.
If they really wanted to, I bet you they can take Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, maybe even Iraq, because of the way that it is insane at the moment.
Yeah, I fully believe they could conquer the entire Middle East.
Maybe not the entire Middle East. Egypt is, a bit stronger than the rest.
Okay, so, yeah, and I suppose they probably shouldn't push too far away from the homeland, from Israel.
Yep. Yeah,
but yeah,
they're already running into problems with just the Arabs within their borders. Like, imagine adding that many more. But that's also why I think the nuke is the more realistic option.
I mean, because, hey, you gotta nuke somebody.
Well, I mean, if you don't have people to rule over, you don't have a demographics problem either.